How you doing, folks? We're back again. It's all happening. Like the shirt, Star Trek and Detroit Tigers. You gotta put two good things together. And I got a haircut. Finally, I don't have to use my own wand. It's all evened out now. So, but to get on, not to get off track here, it's once again it's the off night. So prepare for the master, the guy that knows all the secrets of the entire Detroit political scene. Welcome, Mr. Mark Sweetman. Woo!
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. We're not just Detroit, though. You know, we like to make this show as national and international as we can.
That's right.
Yeah, we've got all the topics covered. I think we're going to talk a little bit about Israel and their new government tonight, and some things like that. And now you're saying you put Star Trek and the Detroit Tigers together in a shirt?
Yeah,
Is
right
that what
there on
happened?
the T-shirt. It's the Starship Enterprise with the Tigers right there.
I'm guessing they do that for every team.
Oh yeah, I guess they did that. So it's like, two space cadets put together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
The Tigers are completely spaced out. They can't get anything off the ground. And there's Star Trek, which is basically they're all surfing through space.
All right. Now another thing that's new this week, I should mention. I see that you did a little trimming on the top of your head, and I took care of. I trimmed off my bottom, so now you have the longer beard, and I have the longer hair. So we just switched. We switched roles there. So
that's right. It was fun going in to get the haircut person that says, she was kind of frightened, like, yes, I did it myself. Could you tell? It's like, I used a wand. There we go. Yeah. It's short over here. It's long over here. Thank you. So we figured out what that voice is.
All right. Another thing I'd like to talk, I'll go make note of this. The $300 extra unemployment from the federal government ends this week too. So we'll chat a little bit about that. But we have a special guest tonight. My betrothed, my beloved, my beautiful wife, and let me get her on here. I'm going to add her because we've already told our other regulars already know about this, but I'll bring them in after we bring Susan on. Here's my wife, Susan, and Susan has written a poem called "The Off Night" and dedicated it to our show. And I wanted her to get on and read this for us because I think there's a good chance that this could be like our theme song if we get the right music for it. And I have a couple of sons that are composers. Maybe I'll talk to them about this. But Susan, are you ready for the premiere of your poem?
I suppose we could call this Poetry Corner.
What room did you put yourself in? Because I hear an echo.
I'm in the stairway.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's why. Oh,
but I had to turn the sound off because you have a few second delay.
Well, that happens, That, and the more, what happens? The more people that sign on, if we get 6 people on here, it's even more delay. So that's why I wanted to have you on before I brought everyone. They can hear you, but
there we go.
Well, this poem is called "The Off Night."
All right.
The off night, what a sight. Laughing, joking, making light. Listen in on Monday night. Politics might be a fight. Jokes galore, a tiger score. Current events, a touch pretense. Come enjoy the fun. Come and hear a pun. Pandemic's near the end. Listen in, my friend. Do not turn away. Hear comedy today. Don't you have a fright. It's time for the off night. That's it.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, I forgot to. I should have brought my head. Had I known, I would have brought my beret. I would have had the tipped cigarette. That was perfect for that.
Just call me Dr. Sue S.S.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's very good. Dr. Sue.
He is a poetry slam artist. There we go.
Hey, now, do you mind if we bring in our other hosts so that they can quiz you on your work? Or maybe we could do it like American Idol or something. They can give you the golden button or whatever.
I don't need critiquing.
Okay. Anyway, here's Sam. Here's our regular scribe, Sam Greenfield, And from the east side of Detroit, our journalist, Kathy Ryan. What'd you guys think of that?
Foreign correspondent, yes.
I thought
it had kind of a jazz vibe to it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I think we could find. I think I'm going to make a clip of that and send it out there. See if we can get somebody to write a tune for it.
Kick it off with a bass line.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you like it, maybe next week I'll put in more than 5 minutes.
No. I like the fact that's all you know. That's exactly what it should be.
That's what jazz is. In fact,
That's
you should
right.
be.
It's improvisational from the top of your head. Oh no, that's fine.
Yep.
Well, have a good show.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for
you.
joining us, and thanks for that poem too. That was awesome.
God, I thought she'd.
That was very good. Yeah.
that was good.
Christ.
So Sam was talking a little bit about his health before we went on the air. We always think, we do too much good. We do too much good stuff before we go on. Maybe we should try to hold ourselves back a little bit. You don't want to do that because you like the vibe that gets going, but sometimes, sometimes you waste some stuff. Anyway, it's June 14th, and when you guys were kids, what did June 14th mean?
Well, it's Flag Day.
Have you heard anything about the flag today?
Yeah.
Very little.
No, because it's also Trump's birthday.
Oh,
is it?
geez.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why. Is that why he hugs it so much?
Oh, God.
Yes.
I was always hoping that he would hug it and someone would put an electric circuit in it.
The flag killed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, if you watch morning TV, you'll find out it's also the some sort of anniversary for the Army. 246 years, I think, or something like that.
Wow, 246.
Feels like only 245.
Yeah. They don't look a day over 240.
I'm still writing militia on my checks.
Yeah.
Militia. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know it's what's funny about jokes like that. Writing on my checks is that it's so hack that you've got to take it somewhere like that in order to tell it anymore.
I wanted to tell you this real quick. There's been a to-do in New York. Washington Square, which is a real nice park in the Village, has been beset by thugs at night, doing a lot of drugs. I don't mean like a couple of kids smoking joints. I mean like a lot of drugs, all kinds of drugs. And really loud music, and a lot of, like a fire was nearby, and some of these idiots threw bottles at the firefighters. Anyway, it's a neighborhood that has a lot of really expensive houses around it, and these people justifiably were complaining. So this promoter who started all this said, listen, if these Karens, which I perceive when he says it to be racist, if these Karens don't like it, they can move. So I went on TikTok and I went on Instagram and I said, I have an idea. Why don't we move the party to your mother's house? Why don't we do it right outside your mom's house? And when she complains about the loud noise and the drugs and the violence, tell her, hey, bitch, why don't you move? No?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to do that, do you? And by the way, I said to the promoter, don't tell me your name is shaman. A shaman is someone who goes into a trance. And if this is the way you are in a trance, then no wonder your mother won't talk to you.
Yeah.
And so it got a huge reaction.
Wow.
And all of it positive. I thought someone was going to say that's racist, so I could have the opportunity to tell them to kiss my ass. But no, it was all very positive.
Huh.
Cool.
And de Blasio, who is just a horrendously bad mayor. At first they arrested some people, but now, no, we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna, check it out. And God, he's awful.
Well, what makes him bad, Sam?
He is. There's so much. Let me put it this way. This encapsulates it. If I say to you, a lot of old people are getting mugged. on, in a certain park, his response is, "Oh, gee, we got to do something about that."
Like
Instead
what?
instead of acting on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
You're the
one.
mayor.
Two, the mayor of the largest city in the United States should not take a second to run for president,
Yeah, that was
especially when your rating is 0,
Yeah.
not 1, 0. Okay, there was no, this city needs constant attention. There's
what, I
always
think.
something going on, and he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I think he did it just because Buttigieg was doing so well in the polls.
Mm.
I
He
think
probably
he did it because he's a moron.
Yeah.
well, there's a reason too, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a reason.
and here's another thing. He gets elected mayor the first term. He gets elected mayor, and he moves his wife into an office adjacent to his. Well, no one elected her.
Yeah.
No one, elected her. What's that about?
Yeah.
Although I am amazed. Amazed isn't the right word. I'm fascinated by the fact that before she met him, she was gay.
Usually it works the other way. I was
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
till I met you and you turned to be gay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I met you, and now I'm a homosexual.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But he's
Idiots
just
do it the other way though.
Yes, but now the people who are running to replace him, there's not a bad one. I mean, I've never seen a field this strong.
Yeah.
They're all terrific.
Is he
they all
running
have
for
their
re-election?
weaknesses. No. That they did that once with Bloomberg. Three terms. You can't have 3 terms. Bloomberg, I think, bought someone. I think he bought them West Virginia, and they and so he got a 3rd term rammed through. But no, it's just 2 terms.
All right,
and-
Sam.
and-
Who was your last good mayor?
Bloomberg.
Was he good? All right.
Oh yeah. Listen, he came in at 9/11.
Oh, right.
He was the mayor right after 9/11 hit.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Giuliani, who really doesn't need any help in proving he's an idiot, he had served 2 terms, and he actually said this. He said, I don't know if the city can do without me. I should stick around till April. And the city essentially said, no, we're good.
No.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, but no
We're
thanks.
good. Now his son is running for governor.
God, can you believe
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Well, I have to believe it. I see him, but he said among the things he has said is, I have antibodies, so I don't need the vaccine.
Wow.
That's right.
Brilliant. Another
I
brilliant
too
one.
was struck dumb by that.
Wow. I
yeah,
have
that-
antibodies.
Yeah. And then the other thing he said was, I'm 35 years old, and for the better part of 5 decades, I've been working in government.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And finally, he's at the seaport, and he looks behind. I think we talked about this, or I did, in the distance, and he sees the Statue of Liberty. He goes, "Is that Miss Manhattan?"
No.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
It's not a beauty contest, you Cro-Magnon-looking son of a bitch.
Oh,
Jesus. And
Wow.
Donna Hanover is his mom, and she's a good-looking woman. He is frightening looking.
he
looks
is.
like-
He's very odd looking. Yeah,
Well,
he's
he looks like at any moment he's going to tear flesh off of your arm. I mean, with his
Exactly. Yeah.
with his teeth.
He was.
Yeah.
He's one of the gargoyles on the Upper West Side on those buildings.
Yeah,
I
there
think-
you go.
Oh, yeah, there you
Mark, I think that's an insult to gargoyles everywhere.
You've been
I,
cursed, Mark. They'll be swooping down.
There we go.
And he was kicked off the Duke University golf team for bad temper.
go.
And but the thing is, he's running as a Republican, so the odds to him winning are very small. Well,
Thank
he's not going
God.
to get the nomination. The
Yeah,
nomination
yeah.
is going to be this guy named Lee Zeldin, and Lee Zeldin is going to. He's a Long Island Republican. He's very, you can't be more pro-Israel than him without having Israeli citizenship.
Yeah.
And I'm always amused by this. If you say anything bad about Israel, or even negative, or even I didn't like when they did, you hate Jews.
Yeah.
You know, so
Hey, you know what? Yeah, you could say this about Israel now. They have a government that has an Arab party as part of the coalition. So
yes, which I
Yeah.
think is, see, this is what I want to have happen. I want eventually the Arab Israeli population to take over Israel so that every Jew that I hate will drop dead of a heart attack.
I'm not.
Okay.
Okay,
I
I'm not
can't
quite there.
believe
I'm
this
not
is
quite there with you.
happening.
I see where you're going there, Sam, but I'm not quite there with you yet.
That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see. Oh, by the way, I think I told you this. Every morning I watch Fox and Friends for a minute and a half.
Oh,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
No, because I want to see what they're doing, because it will never be anything positive about Biden.
Exactly.
So, as you
Yep.
know, Biden is doing very well at the G7. You know, they love the fact he's there. Queen Elizabeth loves him because, unlike Fat Ass, he doesn't walk in front of her like he's waiting
Yeah.
for a cab. And he's doing very well. So, what do they have on Fox and Friends at the exact? At the exact moment that MSNBC is talking to all these people from the G7 who are so happy to see Biden, they show a woman with a burqa doing a commencement speech at a university, and she's criticizing Israel.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
and they go, can you believe this? You know, after after all that Israel has done to reduce the population of Palestine by killing those people,
Yeah.
I can't believe that they're
George
doing this.
George W. Bush has to step up, and he has on a couple of occasions. But he has to step up a little bit more. As much as
And
I hated
what,
the guy when
speak
he was
out
in
against
office,
Trump?
speak
Yeah.
out against the Republican Party that wants to turn against race and religion. If you know what I mean, if you're not a straight white Christian male, Fox News hates you.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Bush is not that. George Bush is not that at all. George Bush has been in the oil business his whole life, and he knows a lot of Arab people, and he shouldn't stand for that. He's got a lot of friends who wear burqas. You know what I mean?
However,
Yeah,
you got to
exactly.
remember, he's also the guy who wanted to pass an amendment banning gay marriage. So there's only so much he can speak about. I mean, he can speak about the Arab thing, but you know,
Well,
he's out of the oil. He's been out of the oil business for 30 years.
well, that's true.
Well, I think
Well,
we
he's
need
also
more
got that torture thing
Republicans
going, too.
of Bush's stature to speak out about the current philosophy of the Republican Party. That they've got to speak out that the election was not rigged, that Biden is the duly elected president. They've got to just hammer away at these QAnon theories that are out
You know,
there.
all
Well,
that
here's
shit,
who
all
said
that
it.
shit dies. All that shit dies with Trump's last breath. With Trump's last breath,
Exactly.
all of them will turn on a dime, and they'll look like the biggest suck ups that ever lived.
Yeah, but how long? Yeah, but Trump's going to live to 102. Just our
Yeah,
luck.
you know, my wife.
Don't you people pray? I pray.
But you see, here's the thing. You know, I had all these illnesses and I've bounced back from them. So my wife refers to me as a cockroach.
Where's Camus when we
My
need
wife.
him?
That's what my wife calls me the same thing, but I don't have anything.
Patience. No, but you know, I had cancer. In 3 months, I was in remission. I had a heart attack. They sent me home the next day. I had pneumonia. I was out of the hospital in 2 days. She goes, you get these goddamn things, and then they're over, and you go back to being that same annoying little shit. You cannot. She said, I cannot believe she said, your resilience is unbelievable. I said, I don't want to raise any hackles, but you sound disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, Sam, with your voice, we should pitch an animated show with
I think so.
with the cockroach, with the characters like a cockroach, and nothing.
Exactly.
Gets stepped on, survives. Gets burnt out of an apartment building, survives. Floods, survives. Cancer, heart attacks, pneumonia, survives.
Gets sprayed with Raid, survives.
Exactly.
There you go.
And gets hired as a consultant by Raid to kill other roaches.
Yeah.
How do you do it, guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And my wife Roach goes, "You have children, you self-indulgent bastard." And I go, "Do you know what those people are paying us?"
Yeah, but he's doing 3 sets this weekend at the Roach Motel.
Ah, very
Ah,
nice. Very nice.
Thank
Three
you.
sets.
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll be here all week. Here we go.
Yeah.
They check in, but they don't see the
They
light.
don't check out.
They don't. No, they don't see the light.
I don't see.
He
Yeah,
doesn't see a light.
yeah. I thought my uncle was dead. He was laying on his back with his arms sucked into his chest cavity. He's just lazy.
Well, I was having a rodent problem in my garage a few years ago, and a friend of mine said, just get some rat poison, put an end to it. So I go up to my little hardware store, and I didn't want to say rats because, this is Grosse Pointe. You can't say that. And so I said,
You
can
can't
you?
legally say it, I believe.
No. Ugh. So I said, I need mouse traps, figuring it would all be in the same aisle. So I'm standing there, and I'm looking at the rat poison stuff. And the guy walks up. He said, can I help you? I turned to him, and I said, so just a couple teaspoons in his coffee every morning will be enough?
That's great.
I'm just
great.
kidding, just kidding,
That's great.
Very nice.
Ah, that is perfect. Oh, look at this. A woman named Tahani Abouche is running for Attorney General of New York. She is a Muslim. Tahani for DA. Yeah, she's the 5th Muslim running for a statewide elective office.
Wow.
Yeah, you're way
You're
behind.
getting-
You're way behind Michigan on the.
Oh, well, you have Dearborn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had
You
3 of
know.
our. And in fact, I think Gretchen Whitmer kind of took advantage of the fact that there were three Muslim candidates in the primary against her when she was running for governor, because that divided that vote. Those guys
Oh,
are great.
yeah.
Those guys are great
I,
candidates, though.
I was doing a gig. This is like, I don't know when was the last time I did a gig? 1902. And this guy.
We're using a
is on
bullhorn?
stage. Well, so this guy is doing his act, and there's a woman in the audience who was wearing a burqa. And she, and he wasn't doing nothing political, nothing about Arabs, nothing about Muslims, right? And he said, you seem unhappy. She goes, your act makes me unhappy. You're not funny. There's nothing funny. Everyone else is laughing. Let me say that. Okay. There's nothing funny about you. I don't think you're funny, and I don't like looking at you. And so he told me later, he said, once she said that, all bets were off.
Yeah.
So he said, let me ask you a question. What does your phone sound like when it rings? And the audience went nuts. They exploded laughing. They exploded laughing. And she said, do you think that's funny? And he said, here, let me help you. To the audience, did you think that was funny? They went, yes, tell that bitch to shut up. Yeah. He told me later, he said, the only thing that gave me any satisfaction was she could have been Irish, she would have been a bitch. She could have been Jewish.
Yeah.
She would have been a bitch. It had nothing to
Exactly.
do with the fact she was a Muslim. She was
Exactly.
just a bitch. Yeah. She was just a bitch.
She was a universal citizen. She was a bitch,
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm not saying this because you're a Muslim. You're just a bitch.
Yeah. Exactly.
Andy,
You
Andy
remember,
and Kathy, have you ever met Rashida Tlaib?
No.
Do you know her, Kathy?
I have met her, but I'm not, I wouldn't say I know her.
I've seen her speak before on TV, but I haven't seen her in person.
Back about, I guess it's 8 years ago now, nine years ago, my son was at the Michigan Youth Challenge Academy that's sponsored by the National Guard. And they put on this program for nothing. And my son actually graduated from there, and that's where he got his his high school diploma from, because he was not going to make it through our public school from getting kicked out and suspended and expelled all the time. But anyway, we went up there on their legislative day because they needed the state of Michigan to give them grant money for. They didn't have their own facility to house them, and they used the Veterans Administration's old barracks on an old fort in Kalamazoo. Or is it Battle Creek, in Battle Creek. And so they had to lobby for this money. So I went up there, and that's when I met her for the first time, and I was really impressed. She was only a state rep at that time.
Yeah.
She went on to be a state senator and then, a congressman.
She's very smart. She's very, very sharp.
She's really smart. But when you see her in town, she looks like, she dresses, she acts, she looks like everybody's little league mom, everybody's hockey mom, everybody's soccer mom.
Yeah.
And that's when you see her most of the time. She's at her kids' events and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's when you talk about, a lot of people, when they think of Islamists or Arabic or Muslims running for office, they're thinking that the Shah of Iran is going to be holding up his hands and never shaving his beard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When sometimes all you're going to get is a soccer mom,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the problem with her, her national introduction was her saying, and then to which my point was, look, you have got a congressman from the 13th district, and I don't care if it's John Conyers or Rashida Tlaib or Clark or whatever other name it would have come out of that district. They're coming out of the 13th district of Detroit. They're going to say impeach the motherfucker, because she's
that's the way we talk,
and because she's a Muslim female Democrat, she takes a bunch of heat for it. But anybody from that district, when they want her to resign or kick her out, who do they think?
The guy she was talking about raped a friend of mine, so he can, fuck him,
Yeah.
But the thing is, who do these voters think when they want? It's like the same thing with what's her name, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Green.
Yeah.
Who apologized for the Holocaust remark today, by the way. I don't know if you all heard that.
Oh, did she?
She did, yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear I saw the crawl on the screen. I didn't hear the quote. But the crawl said that she apologized for it. But anyway, if we get kicking people out of their congressional seats doesn't do anything, because those voters are going to send another one back. It's like getting rid of a gang leader. You arrest the guy who's running drugs on the east side. The lieutenant's going to take over, and he's going to be the cop.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but
I was thrilled she said it. I was thrilled. The Republicans are upset about someone's use of language.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Well, when you talk about,
but they're the party with Louis Gohmert. How about his language?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather hear motherfucker than the shit he spouts.
Is it me, or does Louis Gohmert look like every guy you've ever seen who tells you he was probed by space aliens?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, I hate to stereotype people, but yeah.
Yeah. That him and Rand Paul, the two of them.
Oh God,
yeah. Space, space aliens only go. Space aliens only go to the San Fernando Valley and swamps in Dixie. That's the only place that space aliens.
Yeah.
Space aliens go.
Aren't they in Kansas like at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, they have their nightly
no one
meeting.
else is, but they are.
They have their nightly meeting there. Now there's some people, some of the former military guys, pilots, have been giving credibility to unidentified flying objects. To which I heard a great quote on that. They go, "Yeah, I don't think much of it. I don't give it much credibility. That's why we call them unidentified." It'd be hard for me. It'd be hard for me to think that there's intelligent life anywhere else.
Let me ask you something. I've always wanted to ask you three guys this, and I always forget. If you could live anywhere in Michigan, anywhere, price and cost is no object, where would you live?
Well, I'd have to live somewhere near the water. Traverse City, Petoskey,
Yeah,
probably up there.
my first thought was Traverse City or Charlevoix.
Yeah.
I'd probably live in that penthouse at the top of the Hotel Cadillac.
Yeah, the one that just sold for what? $3 million?
$3 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's a studio apartment here.
Yes.
In Detroit, it's 3 floors at the top of the Book Sheridan.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the key is the black fly zone. So the further north you go, you got the black fly zone. So you gotta want to keep it just below the black fly zone, sort of off the and enough wind to blow the mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
So that's where Traverse City kind of lies. So
well, right now in Grosse Pointe we have the fish flies. It's fish fly season, so we're inundated with those when you're coming down the road and you stop suddenly and you skid on the dead fish
Yeah,
flies.
the cicadas.
all that tells you is that you have a
we
very
don't have
healthy
cicadas.
We don't have cicadas this far north.
We haven't either. We have in the DC area. They're inundated.
Yeah.
But we haven't had them at all.
Yeah,
Watch
you look
tomorrow,
at
they'll be in my eyes.
you
No, but
you look at the map. You look at the map.
I mean, like none.
You look at the map of the United States, and you see that heavy zone comes up to Toledo at the farthest north. You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw cicadas 17 years ago, but it wasn't like you see them in some of these news stories.
Well, if they're in Toledo, that's okay because that's a city that deserves it. That's all right.
Hard-working
what was the name
people.
of that guy? Alan Cedar?
Yeah. Yep. I still see him once in a while. He holds Alan Cedar has a storied life. Right now, I think he's the head softball coach at Robichaud High School in Dearborn Heights. But for a while, he was the owner, general manager, and head coach of the Detroit Diesels. He was both the men's and the women's coach of a professional women's football team.
Wow.
Diesels, what a great name for that, the women's football team.
Oh my God.
But the Detroit Diesels was also the name of the men's football team, and they were semi-pro. And he coached football, and every year in August he has Big Al's Big Barbecue, and last year we didn't have it because of the pandemic, but every football player that ever played for him and every comic that ever worked for him comes to this party. So it's the football comedy picnic every year.
Oh my gosh, fun!
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun, and he always wants me to bring the kids because he likes having kids around because everybody wants to bring their kids.
Yeah.
So he says, "Oh, make sure you come with the kids." So, but
what was the name of that guy who ran or owned the Minneapolis Comedy Gallery? He weighed about 1,100 pounds.
Scott Hansen.
He can't be alive.
He is.
Stop.
I think well, let me check. Let me see the last time he wrote something to me on Facebook. I'll let you know if he's still around here.
From the emergency room.
Yeah. He can't be around.
There was a comedy gallery out there, right?
I mean, I'm not wishing him death. He was nice to me, but
Good.
My God, I lost a friend because he was really, really heavy, and I made the mistake of telling him, "I'm worried about you because of your weight," and he never spoke to me again.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. And I wasn't, I didn't say something like, "Hey, you're a fat shit." There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I was worried. The guy weighed like 380. But I think Scott weighed like he had to go at 500.
Wow.
You know what? If I can find I got him up here. Let me see if I can find a recent picture of him. Nobody likes to show their current pictures.
I think his brother. I know Todd Hansen is. What was his relationship? Was it his son or something like that?
No, his brother's. I thought it was Dave. I can't remember his brother's name. But Scott was one of the first guys to headline me on the road. So
no. I have no. I was about to say no beef. You don't want beef against Scott. You'll eat it. But no, he wasn't a bad guy or anything. But you look at him, and you go, Jesus, this guy sweats gravy. You
Wow,
know,
I just brought up a picture of him and Louis Anderson, not
Oh,
Louis, yeah,
in
Louis
one
Anderson
frame,
together. Yeah,
in one frame.
and he makes Louis Anderson look little. Holy cow!
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
His favorite joke is, "I can fall on you from here." You know.
You know what? He just posted
Don't heckle me.
on June 4th, and I haven't heard anything about his death or his health. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
remember.
I'm saying he's still around. I don't still see any. I don't see any recent pictures of him.
Is he married?
He's married with 4 kids.
jeez.
Jesus,
Yeah,
that poor.
I remember going to visit him at his office. He had wanted to discuss something with me, and I was like going to he had it like curtains. They're like going through like some sort of sultan sort of thing, and you go to the fine
jeez.
back, and he's on like this couch that probably was one big sofa, and his wife would be feeding him grapes.
Get out. Oh,
I am not
jeez.
kidding. I was like, I must have gotten him at a certain time, and there was his wife feeding him grapes. It was
Oh.
hysterical.
Jesus, grapes. Oh man.
Yeah, I remember there was a
Last time he was near a fruit, it was James Gregory. Good night, everybody.
Tell you what, all of his adult children look like they're normal size. So
do you guys remember a guy named Frank Tossin?
Frank who?
Frank Tossin. Yeah, he was one of my experiences with the comedy gallery out there. He was not a happy comic. I could possibly say he wasn't a very happy comic.
Because
Oh, well, I think it was heroin addiction, which is why he was very hostile to me.
well, that you could just stop there. That would be the reason he wasn't happy.
Needs no explanation. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, why
Got
wasn't
it,
he happy? That needle in his arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
so-
Did you guys see last night's the guy John Oliver?
We save that till Monday.
Oh well, I watched it this morning. He did this thing about prisons being being hot boxes and not being humane conditions for prisoners. And he was saying, first of all, he says, the incarceration is the penalty. Don't come at me with, well, they're in prison, they shouldn't be treated. He goes, no, you got to give them at least human conditions. You can't cook them to death. And he was giving all these stats. But then they quoted this one guy that was on the news in Texas saying, he says, number one, we don't want to give them air conditioning. And number two, even if we did, we couldn't afford it. And Oliver goes, look, let's go back to number one. We don't want to. As soon as you say we don't want to, it doesn't matter what number two is. You don't want to. You don't want to do it.
I had a years ago. I had a roommate who was from Texas originally, and he was a lawyer for the Justice Department, and he was from Texas. Yeah, and they were suing the state of Oklahoma because I don't know if you know this, but it's a federal law that the prison library has to have law books in it. So that they can argue a case or file a brief.
Sure.
The state of Oklahoma, in Oklahoma City, their library, the prison library, had 3 books. That was it. And they were from 1940.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, but the laws haven't changed in Oklahoma.
No,
so did
no,
Andy
no, but
Duchesne
now,
give
but as a result of that lawsuit, Oklahoma now has, and believe me, they don't want it to be. Believe me.
Yeah.
But they have one of the 2 or 3 best prison libraries in the United States.
Yeah.
But here's the funny part. Charlie Ori, the lawyer I was just telling you about. So he comes back from, he visits Texas, and he comes back, and he has 2.5 pounds of weed. And he says, I'll make you a deal. If you help me bundle this up into ounces, I'll give you 2. So I said, okay. So he lays this weed out on a big newspaper, right? And we're bundling it up. And all of a sudden the door opens. The front door opens. Well, you've never seen 2 white men move that fast in your life, okay? I mean, we had that shit scooped up, didn't lose a seed. It was his ex-roommate, and he still had a key.
Oh, jeez.
So Charlie says to him, "Did I tell you that you could not open this door without me saying it's okay? Did I tell you you don't live here anymore?" And he goes, "What's the big deal?" And Charlie, I've never seen, Charlie grabbed him by his hair, and pulled him into the bathroom and opened up the hamper. And that's where all the pot was. But it was all, bundled up. He goes, "That's why, you stupid sack of shit." And then he threw him out of the house.
Well,
And then he said, "Oh, you know something? I shouldn't have done that."
yeah.
And I thought he felt bad. No, he went out and grabbed his key.
No.
He said, "There, now."
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, it was unbelievable. But yeah, they have a great prison library now.
Wow. You sure Andy Dufresne didn't have anything to do with that from Shawshank Redemption?
Andy Dufresne. Andy.
Oh,
Dufresne.
sorry.
No,
I got the name
was,
wrong.
That was in Maine.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
right.
What was it? The Count of Monte Cristo, he said. Remember that? And he said, "You'll love this book. It's about a prison break."
There you go.
You know who
Yeah.
was great in that movie? Bob Gunton, who played the warden.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great role. Did
He
he
was
get
good.
nominated for anything for that?
No. I believe that Robbins did and Morgan Freeman did.
Yeah.
But I love that line when Andy's in the hole, and Gunton says to him, "I'll throw you down with the sodomites. You'll think you got fucked by a train." I went, Jesus. I mean, the first thing I thought was, why would you think that? Is there like a comparison?
Yeah.
I've been fucked
Who
by
did
a
the-
bus, but
Yeah.
that feels more like a train.
Who did the clinical tests on this?
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Oh.
Andy Dufresne swam through a mile of shit and came out smelling like a rose.
Yeah.
Man, that was a great. That movie would have done better if it had had any name besides Shawshank Redemption.
You think so? I think it's done pretty well.
I think it hurt the movie. I absolutely think it hurt the movie.
I thought it gave it a certain panache.
But people didn't know what the hell it was about.
Well,
They didn't, It's like, now the name of the book is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
That would have been a good name for the movie.
But once again, too long, too wordy.
yeah.
It should have been wrongly convicted lawyer makes a daring prison break.
That's long too.
Too Jewish?
Too Jewish. Yeah, too Jewish. Too Jewish is a great question for. Too Jewish is a great question for everything.
That was from Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
When Slim Pickens says, "Why don't we just kill the firstborn?" Too Jewish.
Well, you know what? Hey, you know what? I watched Rainy Day in New York since the last time we spoke. I saw that. And then right after that, I watched The Front. Did you ever see The Front back in the
I
back
love
in the
that
70s?
movie.
That was
Everybody in it was blacklisted in real life.
the movie was?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Herschel Bernardi, the guy who played the club owner who underpaid Herschel Zero Mostel was
Hecky.
blacklisted.
Yeah.
The director was blacklisted, Martin Ritt.
Martin Ritt was blacklisted. Oh, the other guy, Martin Landau, was in it. He got.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't he in it?
Nope.
I thought he was.
No. Herschel Bernardi, Zero Mostel, Michael, I can never remember this guy's name. The guy he fronted for.
Michael Murphy.
Thank you, Michael Murphy. He wasn't blacklisted though.
He was too young to be blacklisted, probably.
Yeah, well, let me see. How old is Woody? Woody's 85, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably Murphy's probably 80.
Huh. Still,
You know,
I guess he's old enough to be blacklisted.
I love the fact that in the movie, this guy doesn't know anything about writing, And now
Yes.
that then he starts talking and says, fellas, I don't see the substance here. And they want to kill him. They want to absolutely just kill him. Danny Aiello was in it.
Yes, he was. But he was the guy that he owed money to on the bets. He was because
That's right.
he was booking bets for Danny. Yeah. That was a
Yeah.
good film. That was a good film. I had seen it back in '75 when it came out, but
Well, you know who it's based on? It's based on
it's based on the guy who wrote the book, Walter Bergman,
Walter.
Bernstein, Bergman,
No, it's Bernstein.
Walter
But
Bernstein. Yeah.
What was the name of that guy who played the chauffeur on Heart to Heart?
Oh,
Oh,
I can picture him. I can't think of his name.
something Bruno, I thought. Or
No,
is that the
no.
character's name?
This is my boss, Mr. Hart. Yeah. Well, that guy, it was actually based on his life.
Oh,
Who played
Because
the
here's what
chauffeur on
happened.
Heart to Heart?
Here's what happened. He did what Woody Allen did in the movie. He told
Lionel-
the House Lionel Stander.
Lionel Stander. There you go.
He told the House Un-American Activities Committee, "You guys can go fuck yourselves."
No.
Mm.
oh,
God bless him.
But he didn't go to jail. He went to Europe. He literally walked out of there, walked to National Airport, and got on a plane and flew to Europe. And he lived like Hefner while he was over there. He lived like a king, you know.
yeah.
There's a
And-
movie. That life is a movie right there.
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And he hated Elia Kazan because Kazan
Yeah.
named names. He not only named names, he named names of people that had already been named.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why so many people were pissed off at Scorsese for insisting he get an honorary Oscar.
Yeah.
You know, him
Yeah.
and De Niro, you know, the fucking guy was he screwed friends. Anyway, so the story I always heard, and I don't know if it's an apocryphal, is that when Stander waited till McCarthy was dead, and when he came back, you know, he came back to Hollywood. If he saw Kazan walking down the street towards him, he would yell, "Elia," and spit on the sidewalk and goes,
Ooh.
"I hope you die," you piece of-" and would cross the street. He would not walk on the same side of the street.
I don't
Yeah,
blame
Wow.
him.
I could not get over. You know, I hate this thing about like guys like Scorsese going, "Yes, he did do that, but his art." No. You know, Polanski raped that girl, and this guy screwed these people. No, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, that girl forgave him, but that means nothing to me. I mean, for her sake, I'm glad, but it means nothing. He still did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
And this thing about, I think you should come back to the country. No, you can't come back.
No.
You don't
Yeah.
want to do the time. You ran. No, fuck you. No,
Here's the good
I'm
news for
very,
him.
I'm
Here's
very
the good-
strict.
Here's the good news for him. Maybe 3% of the people in the United States even know who Roman Polanski is. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they know.
oh, that's true.
So it's 4%. I think it's 4. Yeah. God, I love that movie. Oh, do I love that movie.
All right. Well, I got to see it because we keep talking about it. I got to go see that.
There's one thing I want to tell you in the movie, and it doesn't give anything away, but the character that DiCaprio plays is an actor, and somebody tells him something, and it makes him think his career is over, right? So they leave. You've lived in L.A. They leave Musso and Frank's, right?
Okay. Yep.
And DiCaprio starts crying, and his buddy and stuntman is Brad Pitt, and he goes, he says, "What are you doing?" And all the valets, you know, their names are Juan and Hector, right? And he goes, "What? Don't cry." And I love this line. He goes, "Come on, man, don't cry in front of the Mexicans." I love that. Don't cry in front of the Mexicans.
Oh, the thing about I'm watching A Rainy Day in New York, and anytime I see a Woody Allen film that Woody Allen is not in, I'm always hearing Woody Allen playing each of the parts that he's written. I'm just imagining him.
Celebrity. What's his name? Branagh. He sounded like Woody Allen. You're right.
It's just, I'm watching Timothy Chalamet, who is about as un-Woody Allen as they come. I mean, I'm just listening to him, and Woody Allen gave some great lines to Selena Gomez. She had some awesome lines, and she's got a great voice. So I know she's a singer, but her speaking voice is
she's terrific.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was on, yeah. But I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to mention that I had seen a couple of those films. I want to talk about
she was on the Letterman show. And she used to date what's his name? The kid actor.
Bieber, wasn't he? Wasn't it Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber?
Yes. And so she's sitting there and Letterman says, "You used to date Justin Bieber." She goes, "Yeah, we did." And he goes, "I feel bad. I made him cry." And she goes, "Well, that's two of us."
Oh, that's great.
That is great. That's terrific.
All right, the Westminster Dog Show.
Oh,
first time ever outside of New York.
Where was it?
You know what? On the news, they just said it was the first time ever, and it was 25 miles from the city. So I don't know if it was out on the island.
It was in Westchester.
Westchester, yeah. What's the castle up there?
You know what? I am familiar with Manhattan and a little bit of the Bronx, a little bit of the Queens, and a little bit of Brooklyn. Other than that, I know nothing. Everything else could be Buffalo, for all I know, when it comes to New York. That's all I know.
Yeah.
That's all I know of New York. So.
All right. Well, let me see. Now the name of it. See.
But anyway, it was the winning clip out of it, the winner. Forget about the judges winner, but the guy who was running along with his dog and he fell.
Oh,
did you see that clip?
No.
Well, he's running. They kind of jog along with them as they go through the obstacle course portion of it.
Tell me, at least it was a Great Dane or something, and not a little.
No, it looked like a Yorkie or something. It was a little dog, but what was cute about it, he's running through the tubes and he hops over them, and of course the owner or trainer, whatever they are, kind of runs along with them, and they're allowed to do so much without helping, really.
Oh, that's on the agility test, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
And the guy trips and falls, and the dog goes to the guy, and it's kind of the dog was like, "Forget about the competition. I'm here for the guy."
The worst part is once that happens, then you're eliminated from the swimsuit competition.
yeah. But you're still in the you're still in the market for Mr. Congeniality.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
They could do. Yeah, they can.
Jerry, where was the Westminster Kennel Club dog show held?
In the talent portion.
The talent portion.
All of it's talent portion. The talent is you don't shit for 3 days. That's the talent.
There you go.
Well, that was me 2 months ago. How come I didn't win?
How accurate can you pee on a wall? There you go.
Once again, repeating myself.
So there was that one clip on TikTok of the dog peeing on his he was balancing on his front paws, walking along and peeing against the wall as he goes. It's quite an that's talent,
That is talent.
If you can, the joke about the Secret Service agent comes up to Richard Nixon and says, and Nixon says, "How are you guys doing? You're not outside, are you? There's like 2 feet of snow." He says, "No, sir. I just wanted to tell you, there's something I have to tell you." And he says, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, "Well, we just found out that Henry Kissinger was on the south lawn of the White House and he peed, fuck Nixon." And he goes, "He did?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Jesus." He says, "That's not the worst part." He says, "What's the worst part?" He goes, "It's in Pat's handwriting."
Yeah.
Or some Pat's handwriting. Really? Pat's handwriting?
I knew
Okay,
that.
the dog show is held at the Lyndhurst Mansion. Surely,
who?
the Lyndhurst.
Does it say where that is?
Oh God, I would just thought you would automatically know that, Sam.
Lyndhurst Mansion.
Yeah.
I think it's either Long Island or
Where is the
Westchester. I'm not
Lyndhurst
sure.
Mansion?
It's up in Westchester.
Give me a second. Hold on.
I'm looking here.
It's in
Westchester.
Terrytown. Terrytown, Sam.
Okay, I'm back.
Terrytown.
Terrytown is Westchester.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Terrytown, New York.
Westchester.
Terrytown is I would live there tomorrow.
It's held in the crowd.
All right, I'm hold on. I'm coming back.
He's coming back.
I have to do I may double up on you here, but okay, enter studio and I'm back, but I don't have a picture. Okay. Or else I'm black.
We still have your name on a square. Whoop,
There
there you
I
are.
am. There I am.
Yay.
Yeah, Terrytown's a very nice place.
Yeah.
Terrytown's real nice.
Well, that's where it was. It'll be back in New York City next year, they say.
Oh, wow.
Terrytown's that area of New York which looks like it's just a thin little piece of land that is to connect the city and the island to the rest of the state. Because
Yeah.
New Jersey and Connecticut almost squeeze it out there.
Yeah. Well, I was disappointed that stupid little Pekingese won and a Whippet came in second. Those aren't dogs. Get a dog. God. I've had Newfoundlands and St. Bernards all my life. You know, if you're going to have a dog, have a dog.
Have a dog.
Yeah, if you can have enough
Exactly.
slobber on you, they're not dogs. You know, if you can have your entire, you can have your entire outfit
Exactly.
with slobber.
Yeah,
don't
now
have a dog.
my 7-year-old granddaughter just got a St. Bernard puppy. So
This is
the
obviously
tradition
a case of
continues.
dog homophobia.
What?
This is dog homophobia. Because if the person who owns that peak is not gay, they're on the waiting list.
Exactly.
That's
I mean, give me a
funny.
break. Jeez.
All right. You guys ready? Here we go. Bo Schembechler.
Oh,
Oh.
He's two things I never knew about Schembechler. One, he was a monster. Okay, because that's a monstrous thing to do to your own child. That's number one. And I never knew he didn't win a national championship.
Nope. Never had a
because you
losing
don't live in
season.
Michigan.
Never had a losing season, but never had a national championship.
Yeah.
I don't
Never
know,
won the big one.
Michigan, the University of Michigan's, athletic department, they forgive and forget a lot. I mean, I would have fired Harbaugh after his 4th season, and he just got am I right? He just got a contract.
Yeah, he got a new contract.
Yep.
I don't understand this. He doesn't win the big games. He's never won a national championship.
He's never beat Ohio State.
He's never beat
Yeah.
Ohio State. I mean, God Almighty.
Yeah. What more do you need?
Well, what they need to have happen is him to lose to a team like Slippery Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was-
Exactly.
He doesn't have
That's
but
a little different
Lloyd
story.
Carr, the guy who did win a national championship, lost to Appalachian State. So there's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of forgiveness at U of M.
That's like when University of Virginia's basketball team lost to Chaminade.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
How can Hawaii have a basketball team?
I have a theory about why the Rams, when they're in LA, never win a championship, never win a Super Bowl.
The only way to make
Think about this. You're a millionaire football player, right?
right.
There's a good chance you're living in Santa Barbara or Malibu, right? So you get up in the morning. there's the ocean, there's the breeze. The fruit you're eating was picked 30 miles from where you live, okay?
Right.
And now you got to play football.
Yeah.
You got to act all pissed off and macho and violent. They now the LA Raiders won, but they were still practicing in Oakland.
Yeah.
Ah, that'll do it. Yep.
And so I don't see how you can get, I don't see how you can do it. And as far, I mean, San Francisco did, but the Bay Area is very different than LA.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
cold. It's hilly.
Yeah.
You get pissed climbing up
The,
those hills.
The
all
Raiders
time.
and the Niners prove that.
Yeah, that's right.
You're right next
Although
to
the Dodgers have had a good team for a lot of years. So,
But that's a
and
summer
Alcatraz
game.
and your
That's a
seatbelt.
summer
Yeah.
game.
oh, that's true. That's true.
I mean, you remember Carlin's bit about the difference between baseball and football.
It's
You
that is that in the Smithsonian? That should be that bit should be
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
That is classic. That should be down there with Who's on First, because that is just such a great bit.
it really is.
Yes. Strategically
Um,
go for another team. You just want to go home. That's where. Just want to go home.
You know what's funny is he did that bit on Saturday Night Live before he recorded on an album. He really got it tuned in before he did a recording of it to make it permanent. I don't think he thought the Saturday Night Live was going to stay permanent for 45 years.
no one did.
Yeah.
But he did. I saw that first version of baseball versus football on Saturday Night Live. It wasn't as sharp as it was when he finally recorded it for the album.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a great piece.
Yeah, very nicely thought out.
And my opinion is every comic should know the classics. Like they should know the classics. I don't think that's wrong to make. Send me a tape of your best set, and let me see and recite for me right now over the phone who's on first. You can take
Yeah.
you could take Bud Abbott's or you could take Lou Costello's part. I'll take the other part. Go. You go.
I think what people don't appreciate about who's on first is the lines are not funny. That bit is all timing.
Yeah.
The lines themselves, there's not a good line, there's not a funny line in that. It is all the comic timing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
I used to like, as far as teams go, I used to like Burns and Shriver too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They did. They had that thing down. And Burns, Shriver was his second teammate. He used to team up with Carlin.
Oh wow.
Really?
Jack Burns and George Carlin were a team before they split up. George went as a solo, and Jack found Avery Shriver.
Oh. Nice.
Are they all dead?
Yeah, they are. All
Yeah.
three of them are gone now.
Avery Shriver's gone.
You know,
I guess the oldest living comics right now are Dick Van Dyke, Mel Brooks, Bob Newhart are all in their 90s.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anyone else that's in their 90s. But a lot of comics make it to their 90s. Sam, you got 20 more years, buddy.
I am so psyched. Do you know who Dick Van Dyke lived with for 34 years?
I have no idea.
Michelle Triola.
Oh, Lee Marvin's Michelle Triola?
That's right.
No
Wow.
kidding.
From 1974 to 2009, till the day she died.
No kidding.
Yep.
Living off that palimony.
I don't think so. It's funny. I watched, speaking of Lee Marvin, I watched Ship of Fools today.
Oh.
And all these people, Lee Marvin, Vivian Lee, Simone Signoret, Oscar Werner, none of them lived to 70.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so a friend of mine who is a film historian, we were on the phone. I said, none of these people live past 67, 68 years old. And he always says this when I say something like that. He goes, smoky, smoky.
Yeah.
Smoky.
There you go.
Also,
Yeah.
also, you look at their diets. What was their diet? Smoking and alcohol.
You know,
Yeah.
you know who has a horrible diet? Ballet dancers.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I bet.
Having to stay skinny.
M&Ms. I'm not bullshitting. M&Ms and Marlboros.
Yeah.
You know who else has a horrible diet like that is swimmers and divers. Greg Louganis and who is the swimmer?
Phelps.
Oh,
Michael Phelps. Those guys eat like like there is no dietary plan. I mean,
And on
the
the
young
other
woman
end of
who
that,
who said she eats 3 Big Macs a day. And yeah, because she burns 5,000 calories a day.
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
who is that?
It was a young female swimmer in the last Olympics. And I can't think of her name.
Well,
But she was,
what's her name? Tina Turner. She was being interviewed, and she was eating 5 pieces of fried chicken,
Jeez.
French fries, collard greens, and a milkshake. And the interviewer said, "That's a lot of calories." And she said, "Have you seen my show?"
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
She said, "I'll burn this off in half an hour."
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am so happy for her after the hell she went through with that piece of shit.
Yeah.
She's lived a very happy life now for a long time.
Yeah.
With
Good for her.
that Swiss guy. She lives in Europe, you know, and they've been together forever.
Yeah.
Hey, Europe's the place to be if you're a black female American singer.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Josephine Baker.
Yeah.
Yep.
A Bricktop. Sure. You know, and in fact, if you're a black entertainer, period.
Billie Holiday.
Billie Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider was on the Letterman show, and Letterman said, you just spent 3 months in Japan. And he goes, yes. He goes, what were you doing there? He says, I was an Elvis impersonator. And Letterman said, I'm not trying to be rude, but you look nothing like Elvis. And
To the
Schneider
Japanese,
said,
to the Japanese,
he said, I look more like Elvis than anyone there.
Yeah.
And then he looked at Letterman. He said, in fact, you could be an Elvis impersonator over there.
Maybe I'll go to Japan.
I watch. Yeah.
You guys know? I have a very positive opinion about Jay Leno.
Me too.
And I interviewed him when I had a show, you know, the radio show, and I asked him if he would do some bumpers for me. You know, hey, this is Jay Leno. When I'm in Vegas, I listen to Sam. You know that thing. He did 5. I would have been happy with 1. He did 5. He did 1, and then he goes, "I'll do another one if you need it."
Yeah.
And I said, "This is extraordinarily kind of you." And he goes, "Sam, I'm in your studio. What was I supposed to say?" "Well, I'd like to help you, but I'm water skiing." He said, "It's fine. Take 10 minutes." Because he's a one-take guy. He does it, you know. He doesn't screw up.
Did you see Kevin Rooney's post on Facebook today?
That's what brought it to mind.
Yeah.
And I posted that. I posted that he did that. See, I have a problem. I have friends who work for Letterman, and they despise Leno because of Letterman.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with these comics who hate Leno, because my first thought is Leno never did anything bad to you. Never. Not once, not ever. Now, if you don't like his stand-up, okay, you don't like his stand-up. But that's so what?
You know, Leno gets hated a lot for what Helen Kushnick did rather than what Leno did, you know?
With the Johnny Carson thing?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where a lot of the Leno hate comes from.
But the common knowledge, I mean, it's common knowledge he didn't do that. He fired her over it.
Yeah, that's true.
he fired her because of it. So, I mean, I don't understand why, he's catching grief. And I'll tell you something else about him. He did the smartest thing you could possibly do. When NBC thanked him for 10 years of #1 ratings by firing him,
Yeah.
right? He hung out. He never left, right? And they came up and he went along with it. And that's the level of his genius. They gave him that horrendous 5-day-a-week variety show. The 10 to 11 thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was awful. And they gave the 11:30 thing to Conan, who, no disrespect to him, I never thought he deserved it. I never thought he, I never thought he, made his bones, enough to do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I agree. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people think he's funny, but I think a lot of his funny is like, Harvard, intellectual, oh, ha, ha, that's funny. I don't hate him, I
Well,
hear
he
he's a
can
very
never
nice-
he can never succeed at that time slot, you know.
No, and so, they cut bait with him after, like, what was it, 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah. Quick.
And he, he was bitter about it and he was angry. He got a $30 million buyout.
I should be so pissed.
I can't describe to you what you could do to me for 30 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Could you
I
could
know
you
it's
could you
funny.
could you turn the camera down as you demonstrate what we can do to you?
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
thought
No,
somebody would
please
like to
don't.
know.
Please don't.
please.
What-
That's okay.
These are the words you hear out of my mouth. So you want me to do it or just my dog? Because I'll do it. I'll do it with the dog.
That line sounds like an embellishment of the Aristocats.
Sarah Silverman, God bless her. She goes, I hate talking about that because my family are the aristocrats.
That's so funny. She's got
Did
a
you
nice.
see the movie?
Oh yeah.
I have not seen the movie,
It
but I know
bothers
everybody
me.
in it. But I know everybody in it. So
That's right. It bothers me a little that it became public because I always felt that was like La Cosa Nostra. That was our thing. And I didn't like the fact I'm serious. I didn't like the fact it became public,
Yeah.
and although it did reveal something that a lot of people didn't know, which is that Bob Saget is the filthiest human being
Oh God.
to
Yeah.
ever put on shoes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But once again, it's that joke is, I don't think people realize how old that joke is. It's got to be 50 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the funniest thing that Sarah Silverman ever said, she goes, comedy can be wonderful and comedy can be terrible. But I have to say the worst night of my life is when Joe Franklin raped me. and
It's not funny. I don't know why.
you know Joe Franklin, yes?
yes, Channel 9 in New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe, do you know him, Kathy?
No.
Joe
No.
Franklin was like a poor man's Larry King.
Oh God. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did you see Broadway Danny Rose?
Yeah.
He was referenced
He
in that.
played the guy who interviewed Lou Canova. He said, "You never looked like you were in a hurry to be successful." That's him. That's it. So, and he's this very he was this very mild-mannered guy.
When cable first came out, there was that. Wasn't he on a New Jersey channel?
Yes.
Or at least it was New Jersey.
WOR Channel 9 is in Jersey.
That's it. Okay, yeah, because when cable first came out, WOR, WGN in Chicago, and Ted Turner's station in Atlanta
Superstations.
were the three big
Superstations. Yeah.
superstations. Yeah. So we saw
That's
Joe
right.
Franklin back. We saw Joe Franklin back in the '80s back here in Detroit.
Was there ever a superstation out of LA?
No, but you
I
know who
wonder
was?
why.
The closest thing they came to it was probably KTLA.
Yeah, but
They did
you're right.
they did
That's the
the
closest, but it's not it.
yeah, KTLA did the programming like all the super stations did. So they had like a Joe Franklin. They're the ones, KTLA are the ones that did, what's her name? Bobby Kelton's girlfriend. Can't think of her name now. The Up All Night. What was her name? And they did Elvira.
Rhonda Shear?
Rhonda Shear. They did Rhonda Shear and Elvira, with the all night movie hosts and stuff like that. They did that. And that stuff got syndicated, and that was KTLA that did all those. Channel 5. I think it was an Orange County station, not an LA station. But they did that sort of superstation kind of things. And I think Rhonda Shear got picked up by Turner. And I can't remember, Elvira got picked up by somebody. And that was the deal out in LA. You worked the local stuff until somebody picked you up and syndicated you rather than become they didn't keep people long enough to become a superstation. You know what I mean?
They would get on. They'd get on. Let's use GN as an example. They would get on, and what you just said is exactly right. They would get on, and then they'd get picked up and syndicated, and goodbye.
Yep.
And GN was happy about that, and TBS was happy about because that way they could rotate their programming.
Yep.
And it didn't cost them any money. They were delighted.
I kind of got to know. I didn't know Elvira. I kind of got to know the other one. I can't think of her name. Rhonda Shear. Yeah, Rhonda Shear. Yeah.
She used to work in New York fairly frequently. She was very nice.
Yeah, she was nice. We were mailing packages. She was mailing packages back to Louisiana. I think that's where she was from. And I was mailing packages back to Michigan one Christmas. And we stood in line for about an hour and a half at the Beverly Hills post office. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew you couldn't get service at a post office in Beverly Hills? But
that's stunning.
But everybody thought I was somebody because I was sitting there talking. She was only talking to me because she knew me from the improv.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of situations like that out in LA where, everybody thought you were somebody because you were with somebody.
I was talking to a friend of mine who used to, who did he used to write for? Arsenio Hall. And he said, so we're talking, and Dennis Miller's name came up. And I said, I can't think of anyone who had the kind of shows he had. He had big shows, and it has disappeared off the face of the earth.
Good.
I mean, and it can't be because he's a conservative or a Trump supporter, because so is Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be that.
Yeah, but don't you think Miller is just so obnoxious to everybody that?
Well, that's I do think that's part of it. In the sense that he I think I told you this. He did an HBO special, Mr. Miller Goes to Washington, and it was at GW University, and they said we don't want him back on the campus, let alone to do a show. And he had his show on HBO, and I couldn't believe this. If I hadn't seen it, I would. He completely threw one of his people, one of his writers, under the bus on the air.
Wow.
Yeah,
he was just an obnoxious jerk. Why bother?
He did a joke, and it wasn't, the joke wasn't good. I'll give him that. But he's the one who makes the decision.
Yeah.
So, so he does the joke, and then he says, folks, I got this one writer, and he hasn't given me anything to do, anything worth a shit in 3 weeks. I throw him a bone, and this is the horse shit he gives me. I went, holy fuck.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. So I'm talking to this guy who wrote for whatchamahoozy, Arsenio Hall. And I said, how come you don't see him anymore? And he said, I think he's refining the night I had dinner with Sinatra at the Desert Inn bit.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
As 30 minutes, and he never stops talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand. I do understand. You're having dinner and with Frank Sinatra. That's a once in a lifetime thrill. I completely understand that, but not every time you see him.
Yeah.
And also, when he was talking about Trump, he got a lot of shit wrong. You know, the just before the first debate, you know, Trump Biden, he said Trump is going to wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
He said and of course you saw what happened. You know, things like that, you know, but I mean, you know, you might see him seriously streaming on Netflix, but that's about it.
Yeah. Good. I don't miss him.
I worked with him when he was a nice guy.
I
I
did
was the
too.
middle act. Ron Ramey was the opener, and he was the headliner. And we drove around Knoxville in my car for 3 hours, and it was great. It was great. He
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
We just talked. He was easy to talk to. Ironically, the one bit of advice he gave me was don't say fuck when you work your act.
Hmm.
Of all people.
Yeah. Yeah. Save it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have any fucks, drop them in an envelope. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was, you know, but who knows, you know, what
Yeah.
happens to people. I mean, he just sold his house in Santa Barbara for like 19 million. So
Holy shit.
yeah, his sons have to be, I would think they're of like I'll see you later pop age.
Yeah.
Well, I know he and my wife, his wife and my wife had the same gynecologist. So I know that he and Lou Schneider and I all had our babies the same week in Beverly Hills. My son Gabe was born the same.
And how old is
week.
Gabe now?
Gabe will be 32 in September. So
Oh wow.
His son is 32?
Yep.
I'm talking about Miller.
Dennis Miller.
Wow.
Well, my son's 32 and Dennis is older than I am, so it's not out of the realm
Dennis
of
is about
possibility.
68.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a normal age for a dad to have.
It was about
Yeah.
68. And that's his second wife.
Yeah. And Schneider, do you guys know
I know Lou Schneider.
Lou Schneider? Yeah, he was a showrunner on and a writer and producer on Everybody Loves Raymond. Anyway, his wife, I think, was coming in as we were going out with our newborn. So our baby was born on the 14th. His was born on the 15th. So
You know,
we all had the gynecologist was Howard Mandel, and but because Dennis was on TV and the other two of us weren't, he got to do the surgical glove over the face joke about delivering the baby.
Oh God. You know, there was a writer for Barney Miller who had some kind of ailment. I don't know what it was, like MS or something. And he was telling a story about when his wife, you know, he drove her to the hospital to deliver their baby. And, you know, the first thing you do is you call, you know, your OBGYN and they meet you at the hospital.
Yep.
So they get to the hospital and they don't see him. And they say to the nurse, I'm making up a name, I don't know the guy. Is Dr. Smith here? Oh, no one told you. Dr. Smith died. And he said, my wife's OBGYN is dead. Yes. Is there another one walking around? We need one. Oh, no, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Why would you say it's going to be fine if her doctor is dead? Well, we have other doctors. I don't see one. And so she pages a doctor and he comes up and he says, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm very sorry about Dr. Smith. He was a terrific guy, but let's bring this new life onto the earth. And they, you know, took her away, never to be seen again. The kid's okay. The broad, who knows, you know.
Yeah.
Chicks, man.
Yeah.
You know that show Community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have never heard a cast of people hate another cast member like they hated Chevy Chase. I mean, it's worse than anything on SNL.
Yeah, but doesn't everybody hate Chevy Chase?
No, but this was there was somebody on SNL like Chevy Chase at some point.
Yeah.
No one liked him. They
Yeah.
hated him.
Yeah.
But you know, from what I can tell, it was almost like he made it his day's work to be hated.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seemed to me.
Didn't the New York Times just do a piece on him, maybe within the last year, about
Yeah.
why does everybody hate Chevy Chase? Well, here's why. And,
Well, he makes it easy.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's like that great thing that David Steinberg did when he was directing Golden Girls, and he's backstage with B. Arthur, and she says, "Why does everyone hate me the minute they meet me?" And he goes, "It just saves time."
Just saves time.
That's a good line.
You know, it's amazing how Steinberg got into directing. Burt Reynolds did this movie Paternity,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "I want David Steinberg to direct this." He had never directed anything in his life, ever, never. Didn't know about lenses, didn't know about lighting, nothing. And he directed Seinfeld's, he directed Mad About You, he directed Golden Girls. You know, very successful career.
He
Yeah,
directed,
I'd
he
say
directed
so,
some
yeah.
of the he directed some of the Newhart in Vermont.
Yeah.
That one that was based in Vermont.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's quite a body of work
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
for a guy who had never directed before in his life.
Yeah.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah.
You know, I always wonder about people. You'll see a movie like Red, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it has Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren, Richard Dreyfuss, and I've never heard the director in my life. It doesn't mean the director is bad, okay, but how does a director who maybe doesn't have a lot of, you know, a distinguished body of work, these people are, three of those people I mentioned are Oscar winners.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis is a movie star.
Yeah.
Directors Guild.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, do they listen to you? I mean,
No, I'm telling you, they all the directors more even than the writers and the actors have a sort of apprenticeship program, like they don't have for everything else. I mean, you can go onto a set and become anything. You know what I mean? And then the next movie, you kind of hang around and you kind of watch what the other guy is doing. Oh, I could look like I could do that job, key grip or whatever that is, and eventually you become an assistant director, and that gets you into the Directors Guild. Once you're in the Directors Guild, then they have like these projects for you, where they'll give you, and they especially kids that have come out and have a college film. If you have a college film and you showed, and the directors will throw you $700,000. All right, let's see what you come back with $700,000. And then they sort of rate these things based on the length, the quality, how many people they got in, you know, because you're the director, you're the producer, sometimes you're the star, you're often the writer. In fact, more times than not, you're the writer. And then if you do well on your $700,000 film, they give you, you know, $3.5 million to see what you can do with it. And this is like a drop in the bucket for them to sort of, sort of keep this going. And there's a lot of pressure because once you fuck up, well, let's go to the next kid who's coming along, type of thing.
You're only as good as your last one.
Exactly. But there is the directors more than the writers and the stars and the actors have like that apprenticeship program.
Well, you know, that's I think that's what happened to the guy who directed Bill Cosby's movies. You know, those two movies he did, Leonard Part 6 and Ghost Dad.
Yeah, those are pretty bad.
he made Cosby, from what I hear, made those guys' lives miserable.
Mm.
You know, um, he said, I've been in this business. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. But on the other side of that, in the movie Awakenings, what's her name? Penny Marshall. She's directing De Niro, and
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
said she was a nervous wreck. And she's like, I don't know, will you be mad at me? And he said to her, he said, don't do this to me. He said, you're the director. You
Yeah.
tell me what to do, and I'll do it. He said, you tell me what you want out of me, and I'll give that to you. But
Yeah.
don't make it sound like I'm some kind of temperamental diva who, doesn't listen to that's not me,
Yeah.
And that's why at the age of 78, he's still working
Chewing
actively,
gum.
and Cosby is doing the open mic at Rikers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we got 90 minutes in, gang, and
Okay.
I got a daughter to pick up from work, so
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
if I hear that
got a
line
good
one
we had a
more
good
time.
discussion. We had a good discussion this week. We got a possible theme song out of it, at least a theme poem
Ooh.
to go with, and
I like the
Just-
theme poem.
oh, maybe we can get her to do. She whips those things out like it's nothing. So I could probably get her to do a new one. All we need to do is come up with themes, and she'd probably come up with something good for us each week. She's a very talented writer.
Cool.
So.
I like
Okay.
it.
Well, we'll look forward to next week.
All right.
Have a
Awesome.
lovely week, everybody. Stay
Thank
well.
you. You
Good night,
too.
everybody.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
See you later.
Ciao.